Welcome into another edition of the Celtics Spotlight here on the Carlow Sports Network. I'm Sean Meyers, joined by the sophomore keeper for the women's soccer team at Carlow, Elizabeth Knight. Thank you so much for doing this. How's your day going?
My day's going pretty good. How about you?
I am having a great day, and certainly you've had a great run at Carlow so far. You became the primary goalkeeper as a freshman. So how were you able to make that transition from high school soccer to college so smoothly?
I would say it's definitely difficult for me to make that transition, but the thing that helped is I had a lot of support from my teammates because I'm a very vocal keeper, and I've come from teams in the past and they've just not necessarily like that, but this team was very supportive about me playing and me being vocal as a goalkeeper, so that helped a lot.
I know you're making your way back from an injury you suffered a couple of weeks ago, and since you've come back, you've been splitting time in goal with Anya Octo. So how have you adjusted to that?
I mean, it is definitely nice because I love having the competition and being able to fight for that starting position and playing time with her.
How have you evaluated your play individually so far here in 2021?
I would say my play has definitely been good, and I know for a few games I was sick, so in some games it was lacking in some aspects, but I would say overall I've been playing pretty well so far.
So you mentioned before you're very vocal as a keeper. I'm sure that helps, but what's the importance of being on the same page as your teammates, especially the defenders in front of you?
I feel like it's important to be on the same page because it allows us to be better together when we're moving or if we're marking up or just for plays in general where we need to shift the field and just better communication so we can move the ball better overall.
What's an underrated aspect of being a goalkeeper?
I think an underrated aspect of being a goalkeeper is that we're just some tough wall and we just think we don't have like a lot of motion. For myself, like I know I let in quite a few goals sometimes and it can be hard, but I mean I try to stay positive no matter what, and it's just sometimes it can be pretty taxing.
I'm sure you probably look positive when you're setting goals. So what goals did you set for yourself and for the team in 2021?
I mean, some goals I set for myself was to secure that starting position as goalkeeper and then also to help improve my skills overall and just sharpen them. And some of the goals for the team was to be more vocal and passing back to me and just switching the ball and just more movement and communication.
Let's go back a couple of years. You're a sophomore now, but what led to your decision to come to Carlow?
My decision to come to Carlow was because I really was passionate about playing soccer, and I necessarily didn't want to go to a D1 school because I didn't want to have to make it a job. And at Carlow, I found that you guys have a good balance between playing the sport and academics.
So speaking of academics, what is your major and what would be an ideal future profession for you?
Okay, so actually I'm a dual major. So my first major is psychology, and then my second one is behavioral neuroscience with a specialization in neuropsychology. And hopefully within these next 4 years, I can decide whether I want to go through and get my doctorate in neuropsychology or psychology, and then I would learn to work with patients in therapy, either for traumatic brain injuries if I choose neuropsychology, and then if I just choose psychology, I would like to go into therapy and work with teens.
I would assume those are pretty difficult and rigorous courses that you take in those classes. So what has been your most challenging class so far?
I would definitely say my neuropsychology class I had last semester. It was a 2 hours and 30 minutes straight class, but I mean, I really found out that I liked neuropsychology even more than I realized, and it was very eye-opening for me. So.
And probably have to take a nice sigh of relief when you get done with a 2.5 hour class, I would assume. You attended Baldwin High School. What was your fondest memory there?
My fondest memory there was senior year. We won against Mount Lebo. It was definitely a taxing game, but it was so rewarding because we hadn't won against them in a while, and we were all playing, and it was a very hard-fought game, and we fought the entire time.
Was that one of your biggest rivals in high school?
One of them, not necessarily. Bethel was our biggest rival, but
all those South Hills schools, certainly a good competition. Do you still follow the Highlanders athletics or the WPIL?
I do still follow the Baldwin team because my little sister's on it. She's a freshman this year. So I might be going into a game tonight actually, and I'm still always making sure, looking at the scores, looking who's still playing.
Is she a goalkeeper?
No, she's not. She's a field player.
Gotcha. If you could change one rule about college soccer, what would it be?
The only rule I would change about college soccer is going into double overtime and having the golden rule, I think we should be able to play out that overtime, that full 10 minutes.
If you could meet anyone, past or present, who would you choose?
I think I would meet Matthew Gray Gulliver. He's one of my favorite actors from Criminal Minds, and I just really enjoy his artwork as well.
Spencer Reed is what I know him as,
Yep.
of course. You might have already kind of alluded to this. Is there a movie or a TV show where you can recite basically every line?
So that would be Criminal Minds. I've watched every season. I've watched it at least twice.
And I'm surprised you're not a Shamar Moore fan?
No, not
Okay,
really.
all right, going with Spence. I got it. Lastly, if you were stranded on an island and you could choose one teammate to go with you, who would you choose?
I think I would choose Riley Olsen. She's a freshman, and me and her are really close friends, and I feel like even if we were stranded on the island together, we would have a lot of fun with it.
Well, hopefully that never happens. I appreciate the time. Thank you so much for doing this. Good luck the rest of this season.
Thank you.
That's Elizabeth Knight, the sophomore keeper for the Celtics.